In politicizing mass murders, gun control advocates, such as then Barack Obama, insist that more laws against firearms can enhance public safety. Over and over again, there are calls for common sense gun controls, such as a system of universal background checks, a ban on high capacity magazines, and a ban on assault weapons. And yet, such proposals are not likely to stop a deranged person bent on murder. Following news reports of the horrific murders back in June 2015 at the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in South Carolina, then President Obama said Congress was partly to blame because it had not approved of his gun control proposals. Obama said, quote, "Innocent people were killed, in part because someone who wanted to inflict harm had no trouble getting their hand on a gun." Obama then added, "It is in our power to do something about it. I say that recognizing the politics in this town foreclose a lot of avenues right now, but it would be wrong for us not to acknowledge. At some point, it's going to be important for the American people to come to grips with it." This uninformed and self-righteous dogmatism is what makes the gun control debate so futile and so polarizing. Media discussions of gun control are dominated by two factors: the National Rifle Association and the Second Amendment. But the overriding factual question is whether gun control laws actually reduce gun crimes in general or murder rates in particular. If, as gun control advocates claim, gun control laws really do control guns and save lives, there's nothing to prevent repealing the Second Amendment any more than there was anything to prevent repealing the 18th Amendment that created prohibition. But what if the hard facts show that gun control laws do not actually control guns, but instead lead to more armed robberies and higher murder rates after law-abiding citizens are disarmed? Then gun control laws would be a bad idea, even if there was no Second Amendment and no National Rifle Association. The central issue boils down to the question, what are the facts? Yet there are many enthusiasts who have seemed utterly unconcerned about facts or about their own lack of knowledge of the facts. Anyone who faces 3 home invaders, jeopardizing himself or his family, might find 30 bullets barely adequate. After all, not every bullet hits, even at close range, and not every hit incapacitates. You can get killed by a wounded man. These plain life and death realities have been ignored for years by people who go ballistic when they hear about how many shots were fired by the police in some encounter with a criminal. There are people who have never fired a shot in their life, who do not hesitate to declare how many bullets should be the limit to put into a firearms clip or magazine. Some say 10 bullets. The New York State's recent gun control law specifies 7. Thomas Sowell, who once taught pistol shooting at a time during his range in the Marine Corps, reported that actually people witnessed people missing a stationary target at close range, even in the safety calm presence of the pistol range. Now, we cannot expect everybody to know that, but we can expect them to know that they don't know that, and to stop spouting off about life and death issues when they don't even have the facts. There have been too many factual studies over the years to leave any serious doubt about gun control laws being not merely futile, but counterproductive. If gun control fanatics had any respect for facts, they would have discovered this long ago. Places and times with the strongest gun control laws have often been the times with higher murder rates. Washington, D.C. is a classic example, but just one among many. The rate of gun ownership is higher in rural areas than in urban areas, but the murder rate is higher in urban areas. The rate of gun ownership is higher among Caucasians than among African Americans, but the murder rate is higher in African Americans. For the country as a whole, handgun ownership doubled in the late 20th century while the murder rate went down. Firearms in the hands of law-abiding citizens enhance public safety. Firearms in the wrong hands endanger everybody. Responsible firearm policies focus on thwarting dangerous people and do not attempt to infringe the constitutional rights of good people. Background checks on firearm sales can be improved by including more records on persons who have been judged to be so severely mentally ill that they are genuinely a threat to society. Extending federal gun control to private interstate sales between individuals and to firearm loans among friends and family is constitutionally dubious and imposes severe burdens for no practical benefit. Such a system is futile without registration of all firearms. Gun owners have justifiably resisted gun registration because it has facilitated gun confiscation in the United States and in other nations. Virtually, all gun control advocates say that 30 bullets in a magazine is far too many for self-defense or even hunting, even if they never gone hunting or never even had to defend themselves with a gun. The central question as to whether gun control laws save lives or cost lives has generated many factual studies over the years. But these studies have been like the proverbial tree that falls in an empty forest and have not been heard by anyone. Certainly not by advocates who have made up their minds and do not want to be confused by the facts. Most factual studies show no reduction in gun crimes, including murder, under gun control laws. A significant number of studies show higher rates of murder and other gun crimes under gun control laws. How can this be, one might ask? It seems obvious to some gun control advocates that if no one had guns, there would be fewer armed robberies and fewer people to shoot to death. But nothing is easier to disarm a peaceful law-abiding citizen, and nothing is harder than to disarm people who neither, especially in a country with hundreds of millions of guns already out there that are not just going to rust away for centuries. One can cherry-pick the data or cite some studies that have subsequently been discredited, but the great bulk of the studies show that gun control laws do not, in fact, control guns. On net balance, they do not even save lives, but cost lives. Guns are not the problem. People are the problem, including people who are determined to push gun control laws, either in ignorance of the evidence or oblivious of the facts. I'm Andrew Abreu. That will be your demand.